And so in closing, like, one of the things that people need to understand about living in the upside down is what she's talking about, is that what's happened is that folded into Christianity are certain beliefs that put them in the position, their beliefs, how they conduct themselves, the things that they will hide, the things that they will accept as normal. Child SA, still staying at the church, the things that they will hide within their own families, that is demonic. I found, adding in a discussion of sinners, I found this week that Christians are trying to do, rage bait and say, hey, I had to walk out of sinners because it was so demonic. That wasn't demonic. What was happening is that your core dogma, governing dogma, was challenged. That you saw that a preacher wasn't being portrayed as being right, but that a religion was being portrayed as being the thief of the gift. Telling someone who felt through their intuition, okay, same way Eve was demonized, but that's a book. That person, through their intuition, has sensed something. Like, hey, I really like to play this guitar, and me and this guitar, I feel that this is right. And it may be actually correct and right for them to exercise that gift. The person in the film was able to call past and present, breach the veil of what it is to be human into the spirit world. Don't want to give you any spoilers. That gives you nothing. But through their gift, they're able to do that. And so Christianity is telling them that that gift is demonic and that gift is evil and that they need to let it go. And it is done through a human being, the boy's father. It's the whole anyway. But it's the whole it's the classic situation, and Christians are told that they are not allowed. They are not allowed to practice their giftings, the things that they are naturally good at, without it being solely when you have to sing about God, you have to reaffirm the cult. And that has been incredibly dangerous. And so in that film, they're portraying that as evil. That's the demonic. That's evil. And that kind of belief lets evil in. And that it is evil to sacrifice your gifts, to sacrifice the things that you're good at, to sacrifice the things that you know inside yourself, who you want to be, what you want to do, because a man tells you that's not what God allows. And so Christians were triggered by that because their core founding dogma is you don't disagree with God. You don't think critically about that God, or whether you should even be a Christian, or whether you should be a part of that religion. You don't do that. You accept what you're told by another man. You accept the portrayal of that God through other men, because that's what the Bible is. Other men are talking about what they perceived. Whether or not those perceptions are even valid or correct, or are taken out of context and kind of reformed and reinterpreted through the lens of whatever society and people are deciding to study that God, whether or not that's correct, you don't even get to question that. And so that film triggered that in them. Hey, don't question. And so we're getting back to the fact that in the upside down, you can never heal the upside down. You can never fix the things that you have perceived about the upside down that are upside down, because everyone is in their own way a cultist who does not want to be challenged and does not want to challenge their core and base programming. And their core base programming, because they won't do that, they reestablish the upside down generation after generation to the extent that you can never heal the upside down. And so I talk about these things, and I've actually got a whole series on fixing the upside down. I think I actually have one of the videos pinned at the top of my page. If you guys want, we can go back through that. You can just go on my YouTube and find it. It's Stranger Things Upside Down. And healing that. The only way human beings are going to get out of the upside down, the only way that they are going to fix how upside down our world is that they think critically about their core programming and they confront it and challenge it. So the reason why people are unable to heal the upside down, they're unable to fix Christianity, they're unable to fix their environment, they're unable to fix the things that are causing their world to be so toxic, is because they've been taught not to challenge things. One of the things that I need to start dealing with on my channel, and that I've kind of dealt with over time, but it feels a little disconnected. So now that I have enough followers, I'll try to start a playlist of these different things, because the reason why I've yapped so much today, and you'll see me doing one on relationship video, one on people have to start thinking critically about those who they think that should be leading them. Just because a person has ascended to a position of power and control, they become a pastor, a preacher, or an influencer, doesn't mean that's somebody that you should be listening to, nor should it be a church that you're at. Because if you look at the other series that I did today in this exact same sweatshirt, you can see that there is a pastor and their wife, and an influencer, the Find Your Next Wifey podcast guy, Latarius. You see through what they're willing to record and be honest about that they should not be in a position of influence in your life, and that you should be thankful that they exposed themselves through their missteps, that they feel really is just more of an accidental mischaracterization of what they're trying to do, which they're trying to sell a book and trying to bring more eyes to themselves. But in the end, they expose themselves the way that Shannon Sharp has been exposed to, for who they actually are, and the fact that they should not be an influencer of any influence in their lives, because at their age, they're showing you that although you might do business with them, you might have associations with them, you cannot learn from them. And so in the upside down, until people can think critically and the other thing I've been talking about today in this sweatshirt, which is you need to start judging your God. You need to start judging your egregore, because what you may realize is that person, place, or thing that you hold dear, that has influence, and in people's lives, if you go with Christianity or really just any religion, your God, you need to sit in the discomfort of evaluating the results of people's beliefs in that God, not your own circumstance, because you're not going to be able to think clearly. So most people are really unable to do that. They're unable to look at what they believe, because what they believe forms a intrinsic part of who they are. And when what you believe forms an intrinsic part of who you are, it feels like an attack on self. We start trying to think critically, but you're going to have to do that. If you're going to heal the upside down in this world, that's why people have begun to think of to disassociate, to kind of detach from reality. And they say, we were all just in a simulation. Okay, so the simulation, the reason why you come to that conclusion, and this is just my opinion, is that there is something within you, your intuition is telling you that the way things are so strange and out of place, so abnormal, so unhealthy, that it can't be real. That's your intuition. Okay, that's the universal intuition that all humans, no matter what your religion background, you have it. And so you need to tap into that to be able to say, hey, like the way things are, like we have more than enough land. People are still homeless. We have more than enough food and we could grow it, but people are being kept in poverty and an inability to feed them, clothe, and house themselves because of greed. Because we have a series of greedy hoarders who have decided to be sociopaths, narcissists, and because the being such rewards them. That's at the base programming. If what they are rewards them, they become a billionaire. Some of them are going to go on to become trillionaires because they hoard, they oppress, and they hoard. They're going to keep doing that without stopping. So we, the masses, have to begin to say, that's not right. We will no longer have that in our society. And we are going to now take steps as in mass to do that. The French did it during the French Revolution. A lot of people lost their lives in their heads because they decided to be greedy hoarders. And so when you recognize your intuition is telling you, hey, this reality seems fake and false, it is. It's abnormal to have all this land, all this food, all this ability to feed, house, and clothe, and people still starve to death. And so it's going to take each and every one of us to confront what makes our upside down and save ourselves.